Selected one.
Alright, this is a demonstrative review of Evoland 2. I played on Evoland Legendary Edition, which is just a combination of both games, 1 and 2 together. As you can see, there's separate save files that you can use for each game, and I believe it automatically sets the topmost save file when you select new game and save. You don't choose like a save file when you make your save action, because it just auto saves a lot. As you go inside and outside of areas, you can see that save icon on the top of the screen. So this is it has the similar gimmick of the first Evoland game. If you watch that review, there is changing of graphics, I guess you could say, based on where you go. I'm going to go ahead and pull out my flying machine here, which you get at the end of the game, just to travel over here. So eventually, this is a proper RPG where you have story and characters to go through, and it does involve time travel. And as you travel through time, it changes the graphics. So if you go into the future, you have these 3D graphics, so you can see here. And then if you go into the past, you can see the graphics go down quite a bit. So this is the past, so you can see I'm very pixelated looking. And then if you go back to modern time, or the middle time period, it's called like the present. This is the present time. You're still pixelated, but you're higher resolution. So what you do in this game is you start out in the present, and then you quickly go to the past, where events take place, and you gain some party members, and you eventually go to the future, and then back to the past. You do some time traveling and such. What's interesting is that this game doesn't have any sort of like the first Evoland game. It was kind of more about evolving the mechanics of the game over time. In this game, it kind of goes simply down to the time travel mechanic of going to the past and the future to change the graphics and gameplay. The gameplay itself does change up a lot throughout the course of the game. Not that it evolves like the first game, but it changes a lot, just to like mix things up all the time. So there is only one area, comparison to the first Evoland game. There's only one area in this game where there are turn-based battles, and there's sort of like a Chrono Trigger type system where you have time bars and you can combine turns to make super moves. Other than that, most of the combat is like this. It's like a Zelda top-down type experience. And yes, enemies do drop money and experience points. That's what those orange triangle diamond-shaped things are. Those are experience points. And you can see my experience bar in the top left there of the orange bar. And as you gain party members, you can see the head of one. You can see my party members right there. Those 3 characters on the right. And that's all a bunch of equipment things that I've gotten. But as you gain party members, what they do, because it's mostly a solo character experience, like they don't come out and fight except for like that one turn-based battle system I mentioned. But what they do is when they join you is that you can hold the attack button to charge up their special move, and they'll come out and do that. And then the meter there will go back down when you can use them again. And each person that you get has a different move. So like that's like an area attack, whereas the first one was like a distance line attack. And the third one you get is like a spread shot. So that's really neat, because you do have to use this first technique to do some puzzle solving, like hitting switches and things like that. Oh, actually, I should mention these vines right here. They can be cut down with that move. These are save points where you can just save mid-dungeon. But the game does save a lot, like on just about every screen transition it'll save automatically, so you don't have to worry about manually saving at all. You just want to hit save points as you go through a dungeon. And yes, I am at the end of the game with this file, but this area is a beginning area, so there's not like any spoilers or anything like that here. And I did go around to get all the achievements in this game, so that involved getting all these cards. These are like character cards which are used in a card game. Like the first game had a card game, and this game also has a card game. It also has different difficulty levels. I stuck to adventure the whole way through, which is like the game recommends it as when you choose new game, it gives you these options and gives like a little description. Adventure is like the people who want to experience the story mostly. So if I go to the hardest mode, I mean, I'm not sure what the difference is. Maybe I read that I just take like more damage. I don't think enemies change. I mean, it's not like the techniques that the enemies use are gonna change, but maybe I just take more damage. So let's see here. Right now, I'll take 5 damage. And if I switch this back to adventure, I'll take 3 damage. So yeah, what I read on the Steam page is that it just changes like damage taken. Maybe reduces your damage you give, which sounds like it would just be like a frustrating experience, so I just stuck to the adventure mode. This is a dragon radar. Basically, it's an item you can get late in the game, which will help you find treasure chests. It'll show the percentage of the chests in the area on the top left, 100% I've completed or collected, and then any remaining on the top right would be, there's 0 now. It showed you chests and cards, so you can work on getting those achievements and collecting everything. And you do get to rename your characters in this game. I renamed the main character, of course. And you can rename all your party members. These 3 here that I just showed you, these are other characters in the game. And then, as you can see, just more comparisons to the first game. This game has the sequel here, Evoland 2, has a proper story and characters, where the first game just had like the main character and one party member character who only joins you for part of the adventure. This is much more of a party group, and there's more story. It's not just a cliche copy of other games. It's really got its own story, and then of course it has just references to many other games. Other game modes that get mixed in to the game are like a fighting game. There's one boss that you fight like a fighting game. It's a 2D, like, you know, where you get like the button combos of a fighting game. That's just for one boss. There's like a shoot 'em up section. We can actually go check that out. I do like the puzzle solving in this game. This game does have a good amount of puzzle solving to do, so that I found pretty nice. Especially environmental things with using your party members. So you can this guy can crush rocks. The girl can cut those vines. And I have max money, so I'm not even caring to pick up money here. And there was an achievement for getting to level 30. That was the only thing I had to grind for, was to get that achievement. I'm sure if I played on hard difficulty, I might encourage more grinding just to get through the game, which is a reason why I didn't. I'm going to go ahead and fly over here. Whoops. I have to walk through those mountains here. Let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and also time travel, which is something you can do on the aircraft after you get to a certain, basically the end of the game. So it's nice to have that convenience there. So yeah, references everywhere. There's Ness. And you can see on the left side here, you can see Lucas. But before I go that way, there are a ton of like, it just mixes up the gameplay a lot, which is really nice. So you also have like these side-scrolling 2D areas. I do want to make a complaint about the jump in the 2D sections. So it does have variable jump height, but it's like the very littlest of jumps is literally no jump. Look at that, I'm just tapping the button and I don't go anywhere. And because of that, there's like a delay, like you don't reach like maximum height very fast. It's even, I think it's even more noticeable in like, oh yeah, spikes kill instantly. And yeah, continue, you'll never have to go farther than like, is it always just the last save point? Yeah, it's just the last save point. But save points are pretty generous around here. And you never lose progress. So if I like pick up experience points and money along the way, I'll keep that even after I die. So that's a nice convenience. Of course, you won't. You'll be sent back in the dungeon, but you won't lose that experience or like items you pick up, things like that. Not that I can demonstrate that because I have max money and my experience bar doesn't really move at this point in the game. So yeah, there's 2D action adventure areas. The jump is weird with the 2D sections. It feels like it has like a delay on it because you can just tap jump to like not even move at all. There should be like more of a immediate jump to it. As you can see here, you can challenge most people to the game of cards with once you get the option of playing cards. And the way the card game works in this game is a lot more strategy based than the first game. Basically you have these blue crystal points, which you start the game, you draw like these random cards, and you can, the cost to put them out, as you can see at the top, I start with 20 health and 1 crystal point. Maybe it's mana points. So this character costs 0 to play, so I'll just go ahead and throw it out there. This one costs 7. I'm not going to be able to get that, so I'll trade it in for 3 points. And then the last card I could put out, and I guess I will. Why not? I'll move it right in front. So when you put cards out, you can move cards in the front row to the back row, because when you put a card out, you have to put it in the front row. Unless there's a card in the front row, then you can put it in the back. Oh man. So this one, Fina will actually heal, but I don't think I want to go for that. Which one do I want? Let's see, I'll be able to build up. Oh, if I trade in these, I'll only get 2. Oh, I can get 6 that way, so maybe I'll go for that. Trade in those, get the 6. And heck, I'll put it down here. So see that guy up there, he'll earn the blue crystals in the top right corner of the card, shows that they'll just earn you crystals on their turn. They don't attack per se. As you can see, the axe on the top right of the bug down there, that's just a normal attack. The red sword means that it is a priority attack, so if someone wants to challenge your attack, the red sword will straight up attack first before the other guy attacks. So cards won't attack unless they have an attack on them. It's like the cards at the top row there, they're not going to fight each other because they don't have attacks. And their strength is in the orange circle at the bottom left. Archers, they can attack from a distance, so if they're in the back row, they can still attack. Otherwise, other attack cards can't attack unless they're in the front row. I guess this guy can attack even though he doesn't have an axe. There must be a difference. The axe must mean something. I'm not sure though. Didn't really come up in strategy. Oh, and I just won. So yeah, the final challenge of the card game is basically going after a guy who has, was it like 50 or more health? It was basically just a really hard challenge thing. Here you can see there is like a shoot 'em up kind of thing. I'll just go ahead and do the beginner course. So there's a lot more variations to the gameplay in this game. Again, there's no random encounters yeah, I guess turn-based battles aren't the problem I had with the first game, but random encounters that they decide had to be in the game. You know. Let's see. Oh yeah, so the special moves can be charged up to, as you power up your party members, they can be charged up to a 3rd level, and on the 3rd level it's basically like a screen clearing move, and then there's extra animations for being in like the future versus the past, where it's just like they show a sprite on the screen. Let's see here, I'll use this guy for these missions because he'll crack the barriers there. Unless I don't need to. So yeah, there's like a shoot 'em up section. There's like a side-scrolling shoot 'em up section for a couple other areas. Maybe it's just one other area. I'm thinking of when you go into the funnel dungeon sort of prepping area. There's also a tactics style area, so I should have saved that actually. Yeah, more enemies are coming out. There's a turn-based tactics area, and that was actually very interesting because this game, I mean, there's leveling up and such, but it doesn't have a huge influence on your character. It just raises your HP and defense and attack power by like 1 or 2 points each time you level up. So leveling up doesn't have a huge influence on your ability to get through areas that I found. There is equipment that you purchase, but those are in limited areas. I mean, there's only like a few towns in the game, so opportunities to upgrade your equipment are spread out quite a bit, which is good. Because, you know, it's not just going to the next town and you get new equipment every time. Or getting new equipment in a dungeon or something. Alright, let's get these enemies in here. I'll use this special clearing move. I guess I shouldn't take too much time on this. What else is there that I want to show? Oh yeah, the tactics section was interesting because it wasn't a simple tactics. It was you had each character has their own unique abilities, and you recruit more guys as you go through each mission. And it was just very interesting. You know, there wasn't any permadeath, of course, because you were limited. They don't want to soft lock your game. But yeah, it was very interesting. I should probably just quit out of this section here if I can. I don't think I can. I'll have to die if I want to do that. Let's just go ahead and do this here. Oh, probably shouldn't be picking up health. Unless, did I just finish it? I did just finish it. Yeah, so, I don't want to go into story spoilers. So, the game is pretty good. I like it a lot better than the first game. I will say, people you talk to, I don't know if there's anybody I can talk to with a portrait. Actually, let me think. Yeah, I can. So the character portraits, they're all just the same resolution. They're basically the present resolution, present day things. They don't get like the 3D models talking for people anywhere. Let's go ahead and travel to the present time, I believe. I'm trying to think if there were any other gameplay things. Yeah, it's mostly like top-down Zelda action, some side-scrolling as well. That's most of the gameplay, and then there's like fun diversions of like, yeah. So like the character portrait like that. Like that's like the resolution that the character portraits are in like all the time. Like when your characters talk to other people or to themselves. It's all like that resolution, whether it's in the past or in the future as well. So there's that. I do think character movement speed is a little slow in the present. It feels like it's slowest in the present. I don't know why. Like the future, the 3D character models, that seems to feel like the fastest movement speed for some reason. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just my imagination. But yeah, there is only... So like the first game had like a couple of dungeons where you could... They called it time travel in the first game as well, even though it was just kind of changing from the 2D to the 3D perspective. But this game has only... I think it was just only one dungeon where you actually did time travel between all 3 time periods to mix things up. So yeah. Oh yeah, when you level up, I can't really demonstrate leveling up here because of my level up right now. So like, I just want to point out again the jump. It's like, it kind of like slowly rises you up. It just is a weird feeling jump. It kind of has like, it feels like a delay on there when you're trying to jump high. It's just very weird for a 2D game. Anyway, when you level up, if you're like climbing something, oh yeah, and then like for swimming, you just rapidly press the button to jump. You have an infinite jump basically. If you can hear my pressing of the button, you can see how it's very not synced up. You just kind of like gotta hold it to be the most effective, which is weird because it's, I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. Yeah, in these 2D sections though, you do get like an automatic blade on the end of a blade beam with your sword. So that's handy, I guess. I'm not sure why they chose to do that. It does make it a lot easier, but I mean, you don't have it in top-down sections, just the side-scrolling ones. So yeah, if I try to be careful about, I have to be careful when moving around these areas. Oh, I don't have any breath, so I'm losing health. There we go. But if you level up, like I was trying to say earlier, if you level up while you're like climbing somewhere, you'll instantly drop to the ground. This game does have a few glitches in it. It's not a perfectly polished game. There was one glitch within the tactics area where I moved up to an area where the battle could have started. I had a choice of where I wanted to approach the enemy. And when I went back up, it kind of restarted the battle, but I was already there and it just kind of froze the game. So I was in 2 places at once. It was weird. But yeah, if I was like climbing this ladder and I killed those enemies and I leveled up, I would instantly drop to the bottom. And if I was over a pit of spikes, I would then die, which is not great. I mean, you don't want to die because you leveled up. That's kind of bad right there. But again, when you die, you don't lose too much progress. I mean, you don't lose your level up, for sure. Oh yeah, and there's like a stealth section early in the game where you're escaping prison. Great. There's a lot of variety of gameplay. It's not like the first game is called Evoland because you're like evolving the game over time, but this game is really more about variety. It's really a much more cohesive experience because it's not about evolving the world itself. It's the only Evoland bit of it from the first game is the fact that time travel is how the graphics change. Even though the first game was really more about gaining power-ups to evolve the gameplay, this one is really more about just using the different time periods as a way of changing the graphics. They change the graphics to represent the different time periods, and it's really more about the story that it has to tell with its characters and gameplay, which is a lot more interesting. And I just kind of like ran around through that dungeon there. So yeah, I guess if you have any other questions about the game, please ask in the comments below. Definitely recommend this game. It's definitely, I find this game a lot better than the first game, like I've said. And Evoland Legendary Edition has the first and second game, usually for the same price as the second game alone. So I figure you might as well get the Legendary Edition just to get both games for the same price. I mean, the second game is really the only one. The second game is just far better, even though this game is not polished. It does have glitches in it. It's definitely a much more lengthy experience. The first game was like 5 hours. I think this game's like a good 20. And that was with me going around getting everything. Card game's better. It's just overall better experience, good story, and a lot more to do. But if you have not played the game before, let me know what you think about this review of it. And if you have played the game before, let me know if there's anything I missed that people need to know about or should know about. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.